going on again with you? I'm been told I've been controversial, in many arguments or debates, conversations, and I take that. I'm controversial. I'm a controversial person. I think it's about time somebody be controversial and pessimistic about what's going on, because nobody has, the guts to even attack some of the issues that I'm trying to deal with. And I mean, there's a lot of people who will say something, but nobody will put their face on camera and deal with the situation. We're talking about now, this time, I want to talk a little bit about the congregation, the church, or system of dealing with religion or beliefs. But first, before we can even talk about that, I want to talk about something I think may be a big problem, and maybe something that the African American community need to talk about more often with each other, is your reparations. 40 acres and a mule. Situation started Abraham Lincoln administration in 1865. Was debunked by Andrew Johnson, which is his predecessor, or person who came after, was declaring that black people would get 40 acres and a mule. I think that that's what they need in order to deal with some of the issues they're dealing with today, because being broke is not a good thing, and that could declare or make your beliefs more enhanced in certain areas, if you know what I mean. Basically, homeless people have a tendency to lean more towards a belief cycle, no matter what belief cycle it is. It's common for that to happen. It's a situation. So maybe that black people should deal with that. I think that's something that we should deal with. I mean, Indians were kicked out of their native areas. I mean, you got the Chickasaw. There was 5 of them at a time. Chickasaw, the Cherokee, and you had also the Seminoles, which is in Florida. It's where Florida get its mascot from, the Seminoles. And through Andrew Jackson, they called him the Indian killer. They kicked him out, sent him to Oklahoma, which was like a desolate place. And obviously, you could tell a couple years later, or a couple of decades later, it became the Dust Bowl, which was like a dusty area where they couldn't produce crops or anything. Well, anyways, I said all that to say this: the Indians have their money, they have their reservations, they even have their own police. You feel me? So if you go on their land and get in trouble, their police get at you. It ain't the jurisdiction police that we deal with today. And this is very important. And this might be something that might be a problem for people. You couldn't really put your kids in proper schools. They have to grow up in the ghetto, so they get ghetto information or ghetto educations, and they're around kids who are affected. Bad apples with good apples, obviously. The bad will win. So maybe that's a situation we're dealing with. So I think that black people should constantly or try to get together or stand in a single file line if you can and deal with those issues, because it's issues that you have not dealt with. And being that you may be in poverty, you mentally in poverty, you emotionally in poverty, physically you in poverty, and now in some cases you're getting robbed, so now you're spiritually in poverty. And sometimes when you're spiritually in poverty, you look at things in such of a way to where you don't like to be judged. And I want to say that word properly, judge. And I say judge because Christians should be able to judge each other. You can't judge the world, but you can touch on issues that each other is dealing with. Like if I have a brother, he's doing wrong and he's in my facility, he needs to be addressed about these things. You can't prolong ignorance within your community, or everybody fails. Well, maybe that's the issue that we're dealing with. The fact that we are in poverty in so many ways, so taken away from our rightful place that we can't even deal with Christian issues. Now I'm going to get on Christian issues. Christian issues have been reformed throughout the decade. 50 years ago, we've adopted most of the views we have today. You know what I mean? 500 years ago, Martin Luther King, Martin Luther reformed a lot of Christianities in Catholic Church too. That's why we believe some of the ways we believe. But it's so distorted and so confusing. And the Bible says that I'm not a God of confusion. And if God's not a God of confusion, why can't two Christians get along or agree? You get them in one topic, they have Pentecostal, apostolic issues, oneness, triune identity, or Trinitarian issues. They have the fact that everybody can come and be saved. There's some people who are predestinations or Calvinists. Then you have different genres and different beliefs. What constitutes a problem within the Christian community? Now the Christian community is in chaos. You cannot lie and tell me, or not tell me the truth about certain issues that we're dealing with on a visual level. A baby can go outside, 5-year-old child can go outside with a little bit of sense and see that we have problems and that there's no solution spiritually for them. So we need to come to a conclusion of telling the truth about the gospel, telling the truth about Christ, telling the truth about the King James book, telling the truth about these issues, so that we can at least agree first, find a truth or logic in the matter, and then find a solution. Now, most of you will say, oh, well, we can't find a solution because we're in the last days and there's no solution till the last days. God, it's going to end. Okay, well, if it's going to end, then tell that then. And let people know that, listen, it's not about my church. And stop building bigger churches and stop the pastors from becoming bishops, because you're giving yourself promotions and spiritual promotions of a field, of the area, to where you're not even working. There's no good harvest. You're not even producing good fruit. Everybody that's coming out of the church is corrupt. I've even been corrupt in some cases. You know what I mean? And I can say that's due to imperfection or because I'm a man, but I, again, take pride in taking the judgment of what I do wrong. You know what I mean? I'm a man, scold me, whoop me, hang me on the cross. It's cool. Do it. But do it quickly. But after we do it, let's find a solution and fix the problem. As long as we can fix the problem, we have a solution. But maybe that's one thing black people suggest. I'm going to go from the beginning to the end. Maybe we should deal with our situation as black people, not from a religious point of view, because you can't even handle physical things. That how could you handle spiritual things? So deal with your physical things with your family. Get back with your mom. Apologize to your sister. You done built so many quarrels amongst each other that it's almost impossible to get back what you had before. So forgive each other, love each other, deal with your issues, and then let's start dealing with a Christian persona of issues. Now, this is the first part. I'm going to continue on in a minute, so I'm going to let this die out, and then we're going to continue on with something else.